Welcome one and all to the ancient castle of Ikana. I have just entered from the well, having just gotten the mirror shield, and as you run around you will find that there are several Garo robes that are in this courtyard as well. They have some very useful clues that will help you complete this area, so let's just use the Garo mask to defeat them and see what they have to say. As usual, just use your shield to defend against their attacks, and then smack them once their swords disappear. They will then relinquish their information. So I'm just going to fast forward through most of this and show you what they have to say. Okay, so one of the Garos told us that we needed an uber explosive, and it's talking about powder kegs. So we're going to need one of those in order to complete Ikana Castle. So we need 50 rupees to purchase it, so I just continued slashing the little bushes here until I had that much. You want to soar over to Clocktown, enter the bomb shop in West Clocktown, put on the Goron mask, and speak with the Goron here to purchase a powder keg for 50 rupees. After that, soar back over to Ikana Canyon. Alright, so one of the Garos inside the castle a moment ago told us that there is a second way to get into the castle, other than going through the well. This would be really nice since that took us quite a while to go through there, and if you approach the front gate, there's a sign here that says you'll never open the gate. Well, that's unfortunate. How about we just enter the hole that's right in the wall right next to it? Instead, back inside, you want to go left and hit the crystal switch to make sunlight shine down here. Then you can stand on the edge and use the mirror shield to reflect light onto the sunblock, which will remove it. I find this very ironic because you can't just stand next to the block and, use the actual sunlight while standing there and use your shield. Nope, gotta use the stuff in the dark cave. Once you've gotten rid of the sunblock, you want to go ahead and enter the castle itself. Inside, you'll meet up with Redeads, a new enemy that tries to munch on your face, just like the Gibdos. Now, one of the Garos outside told us that they used to be part of the kingdom's dancing troupe. And there's also a gossip stone that we saw earlier that told us that we can wear the captain's hat, the Gibdo mask, or the Garo mask, and it will cause them to dance harmlessly. So you can ignore them, but they leave behind tons of rupees when defeated. So after plumping up your wallet, you want to shoot a fire arrow at the frozen ice switch on the northwest pillar, and then enter the northern door. So this room has a ceiling that will crush you if you're not careful. Smack the switch to make this checkered platform rise, and then quickly run out there and dive into the deck of flowers with your Deku Mask. Now, I don't think most people actually realize this, but you can use the flowers to bonk yourself into the ceiling and make it go back up. It actually makes this room far less stressful. You want to work your way to the little platform and take off the Deku Mask to press down the switch. From here, you can either shoot the crystal switch to make the platform rise again, or you can use the bunny hood or roll jump to get over to the door. Once you make it there, you want to go ahead and enter to get to the next room. So this next area has two different ways we can go. You can go along the right side, which has an invisible scutula and several Deku flowers, as well as lots of spike mines. You have to maneuver your way past them to get to the door. Now the left side has some invisible platforms and some regular scutulas, and you can just jump along them. But either way, you're going to have to step on the floor switch, which is here in the corner. Now to get to it, you need to use the invisible platform, so you'll need the Lens of Truth to see it. Ironically, I don't think that most people realize there's a platform here. I think that's odd because you have to use the Lens of Truth to see the invisible enemy on the right, and people notice that one, but they don't notice the invisible platform. I just think it's strange that it ended up that way, but I guess that's kind of the whole point. They wanted it to be kind of tricky, that you're not supposed to realize it's there. But anyway, point is, the bunny hood and the roll jumping are not required to step on that switch. You can make it just fine with regular jumps, and most people don't realize that. Watch out for this next room, it has blue bubbles. And a cool little tip for you, these guys cannot see you while wearing the stone mask. However, a lot of you probably weren't prepared for this and got hit, which will jinx you, making you unable to use your sword, so as I demonstrate. Now if this happens, you can play the Song of Storms to blow away this curse, and you can defeat the blue bubbles if you want. They'll just continually reappear, but they occasionally drop a lot of rupees, so that's kind of cool. Back outside, this time we're on the roof, so you can fight another Garo if you want, and this one gives a very useful clue about how to defeat the boss of the castle, which you should keep in mind. So once that is taken care of, you want to climb up onto the wall and follow it to reach the middle area. There are some ways here which will continually reappear if you're not careful, and they can knock you down, so be careful not to let that happen, because it'll make you lose a lot of progress. You'll have to go back through all those rooms to get back here. Now before we actually move on, I do want to point out a little Easter egg. If you follow the wall to the far south side, which we don't have to visit at all, you'll see that there's something on top of one of the pillars out here, which is a paper airplane. That's kind of cool. That's pretty sweet. I don't know why it's there, but perhaps it's just some leftover textures that they were playing with, or maybe they were originally going to have some in Clocktown, or maybe somebody was just doodling and then Miyamoto walked by and was like, hey. Anyway, but either way, it's kind of a cool little thing that they tossed in, not really sure. Go back towards the middle of the roof on the far west and watch out for the Gwei that will probably come after you. You want to hop down to this lower area just above the entrance and use the Deku Flower here to reach the floor switch on top of the pillar. This will move a big stone block which lets sunlight into the southern portions of the dungeon and will allow us to continue. Yay! Before jumping down, there is one more cool thing you can do. You want to jump across to the opposite pillar and use the Deku Flower to fly back to the roof. I actually waited because I saw the Gwei was coming towards me. You can pop out of Deku Flowers to deal damage to enemies, just like we did with the Snappers in the Southern Swamp and Woodfall Temple. I mean, it may make sense with that enemy in particular, but I think a lot of people forget that you can use this to damage other enemies as well. It's just kind of clever. You want to use this to your advantage whenever you can think of it. To the far north of this area, there are several platforms that are on fire. Before we tackle this puzzle, you want to kill any Gweis that are flying around so they don't knock you off the ledge, like that. Anyway, so once they're taken care of, you want to climb up and shoot the crystal switch to temporarily deactivate the flames. You want to hop down to one of the pillars and use the Deku Flowers to work your way over to the piece of heart which is in the corner. At long last re-enter the castle. Now I mentioned this in an earlier video, but both Gibdos and Redeads cannot hurt you while wearing the Goron or Deku masks. They will just stun you like crazy though, so you'll probably want to switch back to using the Captain's Hat, Garo mask, or Gibdo mask before too long to make them quite a bit easier. Anyway, smack them up and collect the rupees. Yay! Next, you want to use a fire arrow to melt the frozen ice switch on the southern pillar this time, which unlocks the southern door. Inside, you'll encounter a new enemy called a Floor Master. This is the only one in Majora's Mask, which is nice, but also kind of sad at the same time, since they are one of the more interesting enemies in the game. Now, you also can use the Stone Mask for this guy, making yourself invisible to it, which is very cool. When they see you, they charge towards you, so you can either deflect them with your shield or strafe out of the way. And a cool thing Nintendo did for this game is that now you can reflect light onto them, which kills them instantly. When defeated, they burst into 3 smaller hands, which will try and jump on you and suck the life right out of your face. If they do manage to do this, they'll grow back into the big hand, and you can either use the light to kill them, or you can use a couple of well-placed quick spins, which will easily take care of them as well. Now, I was indecisive here if I wanted to let them do some face sucking, so just to show it off, which is why I kind of let them get so close. But after that, you want to use the sunlight to remove the sunblock, and then we have some more Redeads to kill. Now, this is actually a great place to practice your quick spins, because you can alternatively just lead them back towards the light and reflect some onto them to kill them as well, but they don't move very fast and they're kind of far in there, so whatever. Once they're gone and your wallet is fat, you want to enter the next room to face off with the mini-boss Wizrobe a third time! He fights the exact same way he did in the Snowhead Temple. The only difference is now that he takes 5 hits for each phase, and his attacks, instead of ice blasts, they are a big fireball which will burst once it hits the ground and fling into several smaller fireballs which go in all different directions. It's a little bit harder to avoid, actually, and it sets you on fire if it touches you, which potentially does more damage. I didn't actually stop to show his attack, but you get the idea. Now that we have the Gilded Sword, we actually do a lot more damage, though, and so a few well-placed jump attacks will do a total of 4 damage to him apiece, making this one of the fastest ways you can possibly defeat him. Now, for the first phase, you need to wait until he fully appears before you approach him, otherwise he'll just teleport away. Once he's done enough damage, though, he'll move on to the second phase and has several mirror images of himself. The real one is represented by a red dot on your minimap, and he no longer teleports away if you get too close to him before he's done appearing. So if you just watch your minimap, you should easily be able to run over and smack him. Alternatively, you can just shoot him with arrows, or fire arrows, or ice arrows, but the Gilded Sword is much faster. Once he's defeated, you want to enter the next door while wearing either the Captain's Hat, the Garo Mask, or the Gibdo Mask, because there are some Redeads waiting for you on the other side. Ah! Defeat them and snag their rupees, and then take the stairs up to the roof. So see this hole here? Yeah, ignore it. Do not fall down it, because the switch we pressed down out here earlier opened it, giving us sunlight we needed to remove that sunblock in the room with the evil hand. Continue to the right and you'll see a cracked portion of the roof, and if you remember from earlier, one of the Garos in the courtyard told us we needed some heavy-duty explosives for this dungeon. If you've been following along with me, you should have already gotten a powder keg earlier, so slap on the Goron mask, lay down the powder keg, and you can either wait for it to explode, or you can shoot it with an arrow if you're impatient. Alright, so now you can fall down this hole, and it takes you back to the main room at the entrance with the Redeads. So just be sure to wear one of your anti-undead masks. And now that we have sunlight here, you can simply spin around like a ballerina to kill them all, which is pretty awesome. Collect the goodies as long as we're here, and then let's get some more! If you run outside and come back, the Redeads will have reappeared, and it's super easy to just walk right past them with your shield to kill them. This is one of the fastest ways to make money in Majora's Mask, though it's quite the process to be able to do this. I mean, having to complete the whole dungeon and use a powder keg and all. So it's not really worth it in general to go out of your way to make money here. However, as long as we're here and everything's set up the way we need it to, we should definitely take advantage of it and get tons of rupees. When you finally run out of wallet space, you want to run forward through the hallway that used to have a sunblock that I shined out of existence a moment ago, and slash the jars on the side here to get arrows and magic. Then enter the next door and join me for the next video where I will confront the boss of Ikana Castle.